of our LPC will make no statement regarding their current lineup or planned lineup.
Is that the new name? Frosty. Oh, I think I knew that actually. But they didn't. You just gave away the name, Doc. You just gave away the name, Doc.
Literally everybody knew that. Frankly, there has no statement been made. Let's hop into this game. Forget next season. Forget what potential teams will be happening or might be happening.
Fair enough.
Statement. Let's get into this one. High Tide and Will for the kickoff. It's Freeze going to be beat up by Gat on the right side of the field. Will now has the boost and the ball. Rockin' a green Octane with a yellow decal. Looks good. Dragon Ball is going to send that over to the right side of the field, though. Has no boost to do something. Dunks. It's Freeze. Doesn't actually do much with it. High Tide's going to be there to make it clear. Dunked by Will into the top 90. Upper 90, that's a goal for Will in the first, 20 seconds of this match.
I think we might be seeing the hot AA team that I talked about that is just going to dominate. We don't have enough information yet, but with a 15-second goal, you gotta assume they're going to be bringing the game hard.
I frankly think that was a decent, a good play. Well done by Will. But I don't think a winning a 50-50, fortunately, in the first 20 seconds doesn't say much for the rest of the game. Does it say much that they were on offense for the first 20 seconds? Yeah, that is something. But speaking of offense, H20 getting it started quickly here. Will's going to have to carry it out, and actually does manage to do so. It's a 2v1. Poseidon's left to make the contest. He does manage to do so, leaving the ball to High Tide. High Tide's going to be clearing it past Dragon Balls over to Will, who makes a touch, but it will be bouncing back towards mid with Poseidon, rather. Almost an A there. With Poseidon there for the rebound, Dragon Ball's going to send that away, though. Has enough possession of the boost, has enough possession of the ball, rather, and boost on the wall. Going to be dunked. Poseidon will be dunking Will. Dragon Ball's going to make a touch on the way back, retreating to his own net. Passed out is Poseidon. Great pass over to It's Freeze. Put on. Great slave actually coming out from Will, leaving the ball back to Poseidon, who does put up a shot. On defense now is H20 running back after a great offensive push. Pushes like that are going to make this AA team crack, and I think they need to keep that up.
Oh, I completely agree. I think AA is a team that totally can be beat. Yeah, they're undefeated. I've said it many times. As long as you challenge early, really focus on their errors when they do make them, which are very limited, then it's totally possible. I want to add on to another point that you talked about AA being on offense a lot, but I think that's just how H20 plays. I've said it. It's another thing I've said many times when casting the H20 games, is they really like to sit back and let their opponents make mistakes and then capitalize it on a counterattack. So I wouldn't be too worried.
Why? Yeah.
I think they could be a lot better if they didn't do that and change it up a little bit more to be a little bit more offensive, but it works for them. So you know what? I'm not gonna say anything. They're second in the elite division, which is a very tough division to be in, so it works. But I think, let's not count them out just because AA is being a little bit dominant on offense at any point throughout the game,
Definitely. And I think, frankly, against a team like AA, they're going to have to make a change in playstyle there, because their defense, yes, it's great defense. It's gotten them very far. Poseidon defensively was a leader for the entire major league this season. But is that enough against AA? I really just don't think it is. So I suggest personally, if I were to be their coach right now, I'd ask for a change in play style. Really let Poseidon do his offensive thing. He almost does it there with a great touch on net. Slow ball whiffed by Dragon and cleared away by Will, who now has possession of the ball and is sending it down the side of the field for H20, leaving Poseidon to make a drag out of his own half. Will be able to do so, follow-up touch by Freeze. Freeze is going to actually go for one more wall touch. Doesn't actually choose to leave it to High Tide, who passes it right over to Poseidon, who doesn't actually manage to hit the ball, leaving it to Will to make a shot. Gatman's going to boom it on net, and that won't be able to be saved by High Tide. That is goal for the aerial aces. 2-0, 2 minutes and 2 seconds left.
It was really unfortunate for Freeze. I think he just accidentally backflipped there trying to get the double jump. It got a little bit too into it. It happens to everybody. It's just really unfortunate when it costs you a goal, I think he also might have been a little bit not so ready for that, expecting Will to make the hit. So when Gat came out and actually got the shot after Will, I don't know if he faked it or just missed, but whatever, it worked for them.
It looked like a miss, frankly. I've played with Will. But
yeah, fair enough. But it worked and it caught Freeze off guard. So I don't think that was necessarily a common error we see from him.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of common errors, I'm not seeing a single whiff come out from the side of AA right now. Will going to get a dunk there onto the side and sending it back over to Freeze, though. Freeze has possession of the ball. Will clear it down towards Dragons, though. Dragon doesn't actually have a lot of boost to do much with this, so he's going to play it slow, but no contest is coming out from H20, letting the offense start. Freeze will manage to contest, though, sending it over to Gatman, who will miss the touch up in the middle of the field. Actually, a really high ball. Difficult touch to make for sure, and even harder to make a really great clear out of. but actually manages to make a great flick clear. Poseidon pinching it off of Will's car, or Gatman's car, excuse me, almost scoring on his own net. High Tide sending it over to the side of AA, but beat out by Will, who's going to pass over to Gatman. Gatman's going to make a touch, bouncing towards mid is that ball. Will's up there for the read, doesn't manage to make the hit though. High Tide and the rest of the H2O squad are back on offense. Gatman's going to stop up that push though, right at midfield. Freeze is going to hit the ball, bouncing straight down, back to Freeze. Does manage to get a touch, rolls up the wall. Will making a poor touch on the wall perhaps, or to High Tide, who actually manages to whiff. Poseidon will be there to clean that up, and that is a goal for H2O.
We're finally seeing H2O bringing some offense here, and well, I mean, actually, they've brought a fair amount of offense, it resulting in something. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but anyways, just glad to see H2O on the board. They're a great team, and I don't want this to be a blowout by any means. I think this is going to be a really interesting game, and I think there's still enough time for them to do some stuff and maybe even take this to overtime, but that's going to be killer.
But poor touch from High Tide.
That's just going to drop right in front of net, and Dragon Ball's going to get the easy shot. Poseidon gets kind of dunked there, and High Tide just makes the poor touch. That's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, Poseidon right there makes the goal for his team, and obviously there's a momentum shift, especially with a goal like that. But the dunk that the dunk that Gat put on him, there's no counter to it. I mean, you just have to be up faster or have a car with a better hitbox for that kind of dunk. Game isn't over yet, lots of time left. Is it enough time to score 2 goals? That will be up to H2O, and I don't think with their current playstyle they'll be able to do that. But there's 20 seconds left. High Tide, rather, passing over to Gatman. On the other team, yes, but a clear nonetheless. High Tide will now whiff, looking at Dragon Balls, with Poseidon whiffing on the ball, actually, with Gat to score, making it 4-1 with 10 seconds remaining in the game. 4-1 looks a lot worse than this game really has been, I tell ya.
It definitely does. I think we're not really seeing... how should I phrase this? Every mistake that H2O has made has been capitalized on, and I think that's why the score is so high. I don't think that this is necessarily such a blowout as it seems, simply because it's just AA is so good at capitalizing.
Excited! Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, on that it's acceptable.
Holy cow!
That could have been a big momentum shift had he gotten it. I wish he would have, because that was insane. But as I was saying, we're just seeing AA capitalize on these small H2O mistakes, such as a mistouch here, not fast enough there, you know, just little things that are causing H2O to be so down in this game. And I think if they really just focus and say, you know what, okay, yeah, that loss sucked, but we have plenty of time. We have 2 more games if we win this next one, and they can come back into it and not make those mistakes. It's still anybody's game. Definitely.
I think give the ball to Poseidon. Honestly, offensively, he's been a nut the whole season. And nothing that's happening right now will really... I don't know what the right word is. Nothing that's happening right now will really stop him from doing that.
Gonna assume somebody asked for a new server, but nobody communicated that to me because they are all Xbox players except for Poseidon. So why don't we both back out and make a new one for them? Let me know when you're out.
Definitely. I am out.
Alright, so let's just make a new one and it should be good.
But I do think it is important for them to give the ball to Poseidon because he will do insane things on offense, and frankly, their offense is where they're lacking in this series.
I completely agree. I know I've played with Poseidon many times, so have you. We know he's a completely nutty offensive player, but I also don't think... I think when you say give the ball to Poseidon, it sounds like, yeah, make Poseidon solo play everything, but that doesn't really speak to how amazing Poseidon is at just creating plays and passing and just putting the ball where it needs to be for his teammates. Not only is he a fantastic scorer, but he's a fantastic passer, he's a fantastic... Pretty much everything, he's just a fantastic player. So...
Yeah, definitely.
When Doc says give the ball to Poseidon, definitely it's more just... Let him set some stuff up for you and really run away with this offense because you have the potential. And Poseidon just joined a team. That's not good.
Oh dear.
Oh, he's swapping. He knows what's up. He's swapping. Hopefully.
Well done by Poseidon, knowing how to stall a lobby. That shows you the real Grand Champ players, am I right?
Exactly. Those are the people who have been here for a while. They're no newbies. They've been around the block a couple times.
Yeah. Just waiting on Dragon to join, I think.
I believe so. It's hard to keep track of everybody. If Gat will... Yeah, alright, that should be good. Perfect, here we go.
Getting into game 2 here. What do you think H2O can do to really tighten this one up and take the series?
I think really just focus on not making those small mistakes, you know, just being patient, letting... Actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say be patient. really just focus on playing your own game and not bogging yourself down when you do make a mistake, because that's only going to make you make more, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely know that. Especially just because of how kind of emotional of a person I am. I get really invested in things, and so when it doesn't go well, you can tell in my playstyle. But that Galaxy lost to Horizon, and the reason it was is because I was tilted because we lost to Vitality, and it was all my fault. Sorry.
Once you get tilted in this game, man, it's tough to get out of it.
Definitely. Mental game is a lot. Especially playing AA, mental game is a lot. Frankly, I think H20 isn't afraid of them. I've talked to their squad before, and they really aren't afraid of them whatsoever. Nor should they be. They're a contender in this league, in this division, and anybody can beat anybody on a given day. It just depends on how mechanically they do well and how well they play as a team together. Speaking of mechanics, Will, going for a great redirect, doesn't actually manage to land the touch though. Dragon Ball's going to clear it away. Up for the ball is Gatman, who's going to pass it back down to teammate Dragon Balls. Poseidon will actually make a touch, clearing the ball out, has the ball on top of his car, flips it past one, over to High Tide, who actually gets bumped midair, doesn't manage to make the save. Don't know if that was actually a calculated bump, but it worked out very well for their squad. Dragon Balls and Will making a pinch clear downfield. High Tide will be there to send that right back into the half of AA, though. Cleared away by Will, though. A bit of ping pong going on right now. Double commit coming out from it, Freeze and Poseidon there. Gotta be careful with those, especially with Will having a lot of boost and the ball on offense at this point. With an air drag down into the half of H20, taken away by Gatman, who might have actually left that one for his teammate, and perhaps a goal could have come out of that. I don't know. Crazy angles have been hit by Will. I'm not one to doubt his mechanical ability, but either way, he's taking control of the ball again, sending it back over to Freeze. Freeze has enough boost, has the ball, sends it into the half, or rather on net to AA, and High Tide will be there to clean up, leaving Poseidon to make a touch. Bouncing towards net is that ball. Poseidon's got one more touch, actually leaving it for his teammate, who does make a shot, blocked out and cleared by Will, though. It's Freeze going to be rotating around on this ball. Faking, rather attempted fake on Will, doesn't actually manage to do much. Gatman's going to send that ball downfield over to Dragon Balls. Dragon Balls won't be able to make the clear. Will be able to, though. Oh, the fact that it's Will. Will manage to make the clear, though. Will manage to make the willful clear.
It's definitely awkward. I completely understand.
And Poseidon getting a decent clear on the wall, leaving it to Will, though. Is his teammate Gat. Cleared away by its Freeze, though, has control of the ball and the boost to do something with it. Will's going to make a touch, double touch actually, but it goes straight over to Poseidon, who will beat out Gatman on the wall, leaving Will last one back to make it clear. Does manage to make that clear, though. Poseidon's a little too far up from the pass from its Freeze. High Tide will take the ball instead, rather sending it towards mid. Actually plays it slow and gets it past Dragon Balls, leaving it to Freeze. Blocks his own shot from his teammate, though. All of the AA players were drawn out on that play. It was a great play, and Poseidon's going to put it in the top corner. That's a goal for H20.
I am very glad we got to see them score here, because they completely had the goal dead to rights, and then it just unfortunately got blocked off an unlucky placement from, I forget what that was. I think it was High Tide who accidentally blocked it. So I'm glad to see Poseidon's able to make it. He read that, I believe that was Will was missing that shot, and was able to just sit there and be patient and get that goal anyway. So that's a great read from him, and just some really smart play.
Kudos to H20 for really playing their game too, because their game is a patient one, how they played it the whole season. And kudos to them for really kind of figuring out how to still manage to take control and do it their way, you know?
Exactly, and that's what we were saying, you know, as they made the changes they need to. We haven't seen those like small mistakes that they were making that first game, and you can see from the scoreboard that it's paying off. You know, AA hasn't scored a single goal on them compared to that 4-goal game they had last time. And not only that, but they're actually winning the match, which is fantastic.
Definitely. Fantastic is the offensive AA, though. They have been mounting the pressure, just not quite landing their shots, so to speak. And frankly, defense from H20 hasn't been any strong exhibition, but it's been enough. Sending back into the half of AA is its Freeze. Poor touch coming out from Dragon Balls, cleaned up by Poseidon. That's a 2-0 lead with H20 up, 1 minute left in the game.
I did think just Dragon could have made a better save there, and I'm actually surprised that everyone from H20 was so bunched up there. That could have been really deadly if they weren't able to get that shot off. So I'm surprised they made that kind of commitment and that kind of misstep offensively. But luckily it worked out for them, and they were able to get that shot and get the goal anyways. But I think that, yes, they got the goal, but I think we should kind of count it as a mistake almost, you know what I mean? Because they had all 3 players right there. If AA was able to stop that shot, it would have been a guaranteed goal for them.
Definitely. So I guess what we can call that is taking advantage of the right time. Poseidon with a great bump on Gat, forces him to make a difficult clear, doesn't manage to make a great one at all. Cleared away by Dragon Ball, so this one will be a boomer downfield. Gat's there in support. Actually, double commit coming out probably, but it is cleared away by Freeze. Will, smart play by staying back and waiting for that boost to spawn. Doesn't actually manage to spawn now, doesn't have any boost. Leaving the ball to Poseidon and Freeze, which are actually tangled up in each other. A bump on Poseidon comes out from Freeze, leaving the ball over to Gat, who takes possession of the ball with his beautiful black standard boost. Again, it's my favorite. And allows him to center the ball for his teammates. Cleared away by Freeze. That was actually double commit coming out from H20, but it turns out that double commit might have been just what they needed because there was no goal scored, and now there is 1 second left on the clock, leaving Poseidon just to perhaps go for a touch. Doesn't manage to get it, but that's H20 taking game 2. How are you feeling about this game?
I'm really impressed with H2O's ability to fix their game and make sure that they got those whiffs dialed in, they got those misses, those missed touches dialed in, and it definitely put the pressure on AA. You could tell, I mean, H2O was uncharacteristically offensive-minded there, and I don't think even necessarily that's because they changed their play style, but just because they were able to box in AA so much and put the pressure on. And it also forced AA to kind of lose their game, right? Like I talked about them earlier being really hot and cold. And I don't even mean per day, even per match, you know, you see it with AA. They'll lose game 1 and then win 17-2 game 2 kind of things, you know what I mean? So I think
there's definitely some inconsistency there, yes.
Right. So there's a lot of potential here, and I think and now if you're AA and you want to come in and say, okay, we want to keep our undefeated season going, you need to really just do the same thing H2O did. Get everything dialed in, get back to playing your game, and come back and win this game 3. And if you're H2O, I think you just got to keep doing exactly what you were, you know?
Exactly what they are is right. Look how many shots Aerial Aces had. I mean, the scoreboard just went away, but in case you missed it, they had none. They were not on offense. Like, they had probably 2 or 3 solid 10-second plus offensive pushes the entire game. 10 shots from H2O. There was no stopping that. And if you let that freight train go, I don't know if AA can do anything to stop that. I'm really excited to see this game 3. I mean, I asked for overtime because that's intense and keeps the stakes high. But also, H2O is looking hot going into this game 3. The underdogs might be able to put an end to the perfect season here.
And underdogs is almost the wrong word because H2O, they're still second in their division. They're still a fantastic team. It's just that's how good this AA team is.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Poseidon going for a clear on the wall. Doesn't actually manage to make the touch. Whiff coming out from Gatman, leaving High Tide with the back onto defense with Gatman. High Tide's going to get dunked, actually, by Gat. It's leaving the ball to Poseidon, who will take the ball over in the corner and waits for its Freeze to make a touch. Does make a touch, but is dunked on by Dragon. Poseidon going to have control, though, sending it over to Freeze. Freeze will whiff on the ball, but a bad touch coming from Gatman, and an even worse touch from High Tide. Could have shot that. It was an open net. Poseidon goes up, challenges Gat, doesn't actually go for the ball, leaves him the time. Great air drag from Gatman, scoring all the way from the other side of the field. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches past every single member of H2O. What a goal.
That is absolutely nutty. I mean, that just shows how great Gatman is mechanically, but I also think that's a mistake coming out from Freeze. You know, when it's an air dribble, the first thing you have to learn about defending air dribbles is go up early and challenge early. They didn't do that, and you saw them get scored on. And now we're seeing Will come out with this wall shot here that I definitely want to get another look at. Just predicting perfectly where that ball is going to be, reading the bounce off the ceiling. I don't think Poseidon is expecting that ball anywhere near net and just couldn't make the save.
And that placement was probably the best part about that shot. That was, even though it wasn't exactly upper 90, you have to read it like it's upper 90. You can't anticipate that going in. There's really no way you can anticipate a shot coming in from that angle. H2O has to speed up their game right now, or else they're not going to win this series. It's Freeze, speaking of speeding up the game, going for an air drag downfield. Will's going to clear it away over to Dragon Balls, though, who will put a shot on net, actually blocked out by High Tide, leaving Poseidon with the ball, who's going to have to make a touch. Does get a dunk. Gatman will beat him out, though. Freeze will actually miss a clear on the wall. That is a slow play coming out from H2O, but they will manage to clear the ball away. High Tide with not enough boost to do anything, really. Gatman's going to pass it towards mid, though. Dragon Balls will miss, though, allowing Poseidon to make a save on the ball. Poseidon clearing it right over to Will, though. Will's going to make a touch over to High Tide. There is no offense starting for H2O, and that is their problem. Dragon Ball is going to have possession of the ball, though. Not a ton of boost to do much with it, but he will try something. Does manage to get a touch onto the wall, cleared out by Poseidon, though. Will's going to send the ball over to the side of H2O, cleared away by Freeze, I'm assuming at this point. Downfield clear, a great touch, actually. Missed touch coming out from Will. Should have left it to his teammate Dragon Balls, but instead he will take control and start an air drag clear. 50-50 by Poseidon will be one out, and High Tide is now on offense, getting the H2O really to heat up. High Tide's going to put a ball bouncing over net. Will be able to make the touch though, and a demo coming out from Gat onto Poseidon, killing that offensive drive where it stood. But a freeze is going to make a 50-50 and is actually going to fake out Will on the wall. Bouncing slowly right in front of net. That is a dangerous spot for AA, but they managed to save it away in the last second they possibly could have. Gatman's now going to have control of the ball, going for a wave dash dribble actually. Great touch actually from him. Cleared away though by the H20 squad, leaving High Tide to try to get an offensive push going here. Doesn't actually have much boost. Manages to get a pinch, but it is not nearly fast enough to fake out Gat, leaving Freeze to make a touch. Freeze's touch will go all the way over the net. Poseidon will be there to make the dunk on Will. Wasn't actually quite there to read it right, leaving Will to make it clear. Does manage to do so all the way downfield. Lots of offensive pressure coming out from side of H20, but nothing is landing. 2 minutes left. They got to get something going.
H20 finally got in the offense in this game, and they were really getting their stuff back that we saw in game 2. And I'm very surprised that it didn't work out. And this might be goal 3. It is, as Dragon comes out in middle off the misplay from, I don't know who that was, from Poseidon, surprisingly. Just missing the ball, it looked like almost entirely, and Dragon's able to just scoop that up. I think H20 definitely fixed some things during that offensive pressure and were able to keep it up and do really well there, but they just unfortunately weren't able to capitalize, and that could be deadly as you're now down 3-0 against such a great team with only 2 minutes left. And real quick, I also do want to give a shout out to Stucky, I don't know, who just subscribed to us. So with Twitch Prime. So thanks, buddy.
Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Yeah, we really do appreciate that. Poseidon's going to have control of the ball here, going for a shot on net. Manages to clear it is Dragon Balls, who gets another save over to Will. Double save coming out from Dragon Balls, keeping his team at a 3-0 scoreline. Really important for killing the momentum of H20 right there. Well done by him.
Yeah, that was absolutely brutal. I think H20 needs to score, honestly, in the next 15 seconds if they want to still be in this game. And it might come here, actually, as they have an open net. Here's the flick. What a save from Will! Absolutely insane. Out of nowhere. I thought that was a guaranteed goal. I don't even remember what I was going to say before that whole play just happened, because that was just absolutely insane from Will. What a fantastic save to keep his team in it, and that has to be demoralizing for H20.
Definitely, and I mean, there was probably not much they could really do there to really stop Will from coming back for that save. Poseidon could have flicked it faster, I guess, but again, ensuring his accuracy, you got to take your time, and he did just that. Dragon Ball is going to send that over to Will, who gets dunk on Poseidon, back pass over to It's Freeze. H20 might be collapsing a bit here. 30 seconds left on the clock. I'm not seeing this win for H20 coming out, has he?
I don't think so either, and I mean, it's what I called at first, but it's been a great series, and they have, I mean, I don't want to count them out, realistically, because they're a great team, and they could totally score the goals in this amount of time. Maybe not anymore, but AA is just, they're too good. I don't think they're going to do it, and it, you know, that's why they're the Kings. They're going to be undefeated now with this time ticking down. 18-0, a perfect season. I mean, that's unbelievable. We have some amazing teams in this league, and to go 18-0 is just absolutely insane.
Kudos to them. Aerial Ace is truly deserving of that #1 spot in the Elite Division, #1 spot in the entire Major League, and the #1 record in RLPC history, I'm pretty sure. Has anybody else ever gone undefeated?
It definitely didn't happen in Season 2. I wasn't around for Season 1, so I'm not sure. We would have to turn over to Yanks for that, but Yanks brings up a good point in chat in saying that he thinks Will just solidified his MVP finalist status, and I think that's true. I mean, Will's a great all-around player, so is Gatman, and then just that save was absolutely unbelievable. I actually want to stay in the match and hide the scoreboard so that we can try to see this real quick again, because that was unreal, man.
The save was the best part of that match.
By far, and we do have some confirmation from Yanks. So best before AA here was a team finishing 16-2. And then obviously we also have LGBB, who just finished the season as of today at 17-1, and now AA at 18-0. And there's the save. Oh my goodness, what a beauty.